Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Football here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined, as always, by Artesian head coach Carter Whitson. And, Coach, congratulations. Big first-round sectional win Friday night over Franklin.
Yeah, it was good to get a win. It wasn't the prettiest thing, kind of like the previous win, but playoff win's a good win.
Right, survive and advance. That's what you guys do, and it sets up a sectional championship game coming up here at Ciderwoods Field Friday night against Martinsville's rival, the Bloomington South Panthers. We'll obviously preview that contest and take a look at the highlights from the win over Franklin. Coach, like we said, it wasn't the prettiest of game, but you guys kind of anticipated coming in you're going to get some weather. We got some weather, and it really had a little bit of an impact on how the game was played.
Yeah, it did. And just when you get to play somebody with a good coaching staff and they have 2 weeks to prepare for you, they're going to come out with some adjustments that we had to adjust ourselves back to theirs. But, Coach Cole does a good job there. They haven't won a bunch of games this year, but he's going to get that program turned around. So, yeah, getting out of there with a win, no matter what the weather was, no matter how we played, was just good experience.
This was a game where you had to really grind it out, and you ground it out on the ground, if you will, no pun intended. You guys really did a great job of running the football.
Yeah, if I would have told you we would have had 360 yards rushing and 19 throwing, you would have thought I was crazy. But, it's a testament to our tailbacks. They keep getting better and better, and a testament to our offensive line. They just played extremely well, extremely hard. So, yeah, it was a different kind of win, but it was good to get a win that way.
We talked about it coming in, the fact that the weather would play an impact. Special teams also played an impact, important part of that game. On their side, you said that was something that concerned you, was the special teams. Yeah. And early on, it was their special teams that had you guys pinned deep in your own territory.
Yeah, they work extremely hard. You can tell on film that they work extremely hard on their special teams. They had a good plan for us. They executed it pretty well, pinned us down a few times on some punts. And then their kickoff returns late in the game were really kind of worrisome. We were just trying to stop them, regardless of where they did. Because when our defense was on the field, we felt good. As long as we weren't going to give up points special teams wise, we felt like we were okay.
You were pinned deep a lot. How much does that have an impact on what you do play calling and what you guys can try to do offensively?
Yeah, it does huge, and we've learned that as a staff. If you remember back at the Decatur game, we get an interception on their first drive, but it pinned us back deep. Well, kind of a new coaching staff, we weren't quite ready for that adjustment, and we called the scripted plays that we had, and it wound up with a safety going backwards. So it really does affect what you want to do. You kind of got your drive starters that you want to start a game out with and see how they adjust to formations. And whenever you're backed up against the wall, that goes out the window, and let's try and get that first down.
You mentioned the scripted part, going off script here just a little bit. You hear coaches talk about that sometimes. Hey, we script the game. How much of it is literally, this is the first play, this is the second play, or is it just, hey, we want to run these in a certain sequence here early on to see how they react?
I'm kind of a go by the feeling play caller, so I'll call we'll tell the guys Friday morning, Friday afternoon what we're going to call on the first play, but from there we make an adjustment. If we get 9 yards on the first play, we're not going to call a long pass, or vice versa. If we need to get a first down, we'll adjust. So you can script it, but the old saying, if you want to see God laugh, tell him your plans. So that's kind of football coach's deal too.
All right, so you guys are able to play. You're playing Franklin. You kind of battle back and forth. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from the contest on Friday night.
Here's our defense coming out. They came out with a little different package, putting a quicker running back there, and we were all about it. We were ready to stop the run. They had a good quarterback that's going to keep getting better, a big sophomore. But, our defense is rallying around, making group tackles. Just great to see. We put those guys in such a bad position early in the first quarter, and they just responded. This is our first drive where we actually get some stuff going, a little play action shot to Matt Thomas. Matt makes a competitive catch. That was awesome to see. And then it's just back to defense. You can see the score at the bottom is 0-0, and our defense is winning this game. I think they started 5 drives inside their 50 and got 3 points. So that's tremendous. Now we get to the second quarter, we get our run game going a little bit, get our tempo going a little bit, and we start, you're now seeing the offense that you guys have been seeing all year, just that we had to get out of that first quarter of that ugly field position battle. Brandon Dodson, Isaac Osborne just played awesome. Man, they just ran so hard. Those two are tough kids. Brandon's not going to go down. He's going to try and get in the end zone no matter what. A lot of people thought that play was over, and he keeps finishing. He's getting better and better. Those two are completely different tailbacks than they were week 2 when we saw this opponent this week. There's Jonathan pulling it on an inside zone. Jonathan's been doing a better job of that. Another guy that, if you want to talk about us getting better from week 2, we didn't have Jonathan back then. So we keep getting better and better as a team each week with more and more experience. Back to our defense, linebackers played extremely well. Defensive line, those 4 guys just play their butts off. They've been impressive all year. I don't know if anybody can block our 2D ends. They'll have a huge impact Friday night on the game. If those two can disrupt a bunch of stuff, we'll have a really good chance. There's Chase right there, Ben, both of them they're like twins. Sometimes I can't tell them apart because they're always making plays. There's Brandon going with another long run, getting some decent blocking up the field with some wide receivers. But it all starts with those 5 guys. And I say 5 guys, 6 guys up front, because Brian Johnson's doing a tremendous job blocking at the tight end spot. There we go, back to zone read. It looks like quarterback's going to pull it, making him defend that, and the running back's just running it right at him. It was one of the first times all year that we started calling plays and not giving the pass option. We're running the ball. We talk about being an RPO team. Well, we were just going to run it. We felt good about it. We didn't want to make the quarterback think. We wanted the wide receivers to go block. And, the 5 guys up front accepted that challenge. There's a guy right there, our hero on special teams. Caleb kicks a field goal. We win by 3 points. What you won't see, I don't know if you'll see it on our highlights, is Caleb has 2 tackles on kickoff. We win the Whiteland game, we win the Plainfield game, we might win that Franklin game because of our kicker, so that's awesome. Garrett Miles stepped up. They had a really good receiver, number 13. Garrett did a good job of shutting him down all night. Quick little option play right here on a 3rd and long call. That was a huge first down for us, huge momentum on that drive. Going back to reverse, getting the ball in Darius Stillman's hands. If we weren't going to be able to throw it very much with the coverages they were playing, we still needed to get the ball into our our weapons' hands. Jonathan, huge 3rd down pickup right here. We call a deep route, and Jonathan realizes that he's got a chance to go get it. Gets the first down. Should have got 15 more there. Here we go up tempo. Right after we get a first down, a lot of time we'll go up tempo. You'll see that a little bit this week with Bloomington South. They like to do that with their new quarterback, kind of go up tempo and run it right at you and not make him think a whole lot. We're getting down there. This was our issue early in the season, making plays down here in the tight zone and finishing, and we've improved that dramatically. I think we had 3 drop touchdowns last time we played Bloomington South, and we fixed that issue. And there we go, running inside zone again. Not real hard to call plays Friday night. We're up right here by 3 points, running out the clock. A few first downs win the game. We probably could have scored at the end, but we took a knee.
Guys able to come away with the victory over Franklin and survive and advance, and a couple of themes we've already talked about that we'll hit on again. The running game, Brandon Dodson, Isaac Osborne, tremendous. Their improvement from week number 1 till now. The offensive line, both those guys, kind of a two-headed monster, if you will, and it seemed like, hey, Brandon did something, and Isaac would come in and do the same thing as well, so it was fantastic for the team.
Yeah, those two are awesome. They both had over 150 yards rushing. We rushed for 360 yards. Quarterback pulls it himself and runs for 45 or something like that. Those two are, Brandon's a sophomore. Isaac's a junior, didn't play a whole lot last year. Those 2 guys were relatively inexperienced, and this year they've just grown up tremendously, and now they're weapons, and it doesn't matter who's on the field. And we've got some packages to where they're both on the field. We feel really good about our running backs.
You talked about the defense as well. You talked about the defensive end. In the middle as well, the linebackers, everybody having to contribute and come up with some big spots, because Franklin had some good field position, like you said, and the defense did a great job of keeping that game when you guys weren't moving it early on offensively to keep that game where it needed to be.
Yeah, they won us the game in the first quarter because we didn't really give them an opportunity to do much, with special teams and with field position, and our defense won us the game. We gave up 21 points, but they played really, really well. Franklin had a good plan. They had 2 weeks to prepare for us. They pay their coaches too. They get to call plays against us, but our kids adjusted well like they have all year and made enough plays to win.
Came up with some stops late. Your offense ran the clock out. We talked about it last week, the importance maybe of being able to, at the end of the playing field game, have to come up with the stop with the lead. Well, what do you know? You turn into that same situation again in the sectional game, and that experience invaluable, obviously.
It is, and then that's what the regular season is here in Indiana high school football. You just have to get better. The wins and losses don't count one bit. You're 0-0 after every game because you already made the playoffs. But you got to get better, and our kids got better. They also learned how to win. Winning that ugly one against Plainfield, I knew it would come back and be like, all right, we're going to have one of those in the playoff. Well, we've already had one. Let's see how many more we're going to have like that. You've
got Bloomington South coming up on Friday. You mentioned it a couple of times during the highlights. You guys are a little bit different, didn't have some kids there in week number 2 against Bloomington South. Let's talk about South a little bit and what we can expect out of Coach Moe's team coming up on Friday.
Yeah, you'll see, the Bloomington South team that you guys are used to seeing. They're going to play hard. They're a hard-nosed group of guys. But they're nothing special. We keep talking about our guys. They're a good football team. It's not a David versus Goliath deal. We have a better record than them. They beat us, but it's a completely different ball game from week 2. So Coach Moe will have his guys ready. Little young sophomore quarterback's going to be a good player in the future. Hopefully we can kind of frustrate him like we have some of the other sophomore quarterbacks we've seen this year. If you go back and look at that week 2 film and you go back and watch week 3's TV show, you remember how mad I was about our missed assignments on defense. First drive we had 27 missed assignments. Well, we've got that fixed. And we're catching the ball now, so we feel really good about where we're at.
I think an interesting point you brought up here, talking about South. You guys have the better record. The fact that you've got to get over those kids to the fact that it's just Bloomington. It's this team coming in here to play. And I know for the longest time I used to have a conversation with when I was in school about kids that used to play Martinsville. We talked about the tradition that Martinsville had, and they would say that they were basically beat when they looked up and watched the red and gold pants walk onto the field with the Artesians across it, because they're like, oh man, Martinsville. You're kind of trying to get that same stigma here out of your mind. Hey, it's Bloomington South, just another game. Let's go battle the Panthers.
That's exactly right. And we are 6-0 in red and gold. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You'll see some more red and gold Friday night. Yeah, that's what we're trying to get back to. I knew that whenever I took this job a long time ago, that we got to get back to how Coach Siderwitz ran things here, and tough, hard-nosed. We don't care who shows up. They don't want to come here. That's what it needs to be, and that's where we're getting it to.
South, the opponent, like we talked about, the traditional South team, they've had some injuries. They've had some guys back. Talk a little bit about what we're going to see offensively out of them a little bit, that you've seen maybe some tweaks or some changes because of their personnel changes.
Yeah, they kept it pretty simple. We got to watch the Whiteland game, and that was the sophomore's first start. And they kept it pretty simple, ran a bunch of inside zone and outside zone, didn't make him throw it a whole lot. They opened it up a little bit more against Bloomington North. I think they felt pretty good going into that game, so they could open it up a little bit and maybe take some shots and gamble. Number 20 is back for them, a wide receiver that didn't play versus us week 2. So he's back. He's a good wide receiver. And then, both tailbacks that are playing are 2 different guys. The starter's kind of a little quick guy, and the backup's a bigger guy. We'll be ready to see both those guys, but we're not changing what we do because of them.
You looked at it as well. Their quarterback earlier in the season, a 3-year starter, he goes down, Gavin Yeski, who's played in some big games. They got a new guy that comes in familiar with him as well, because I think his dad was
I worked with his dad the last 6 years.
So you've got a little bit of knowledge of him.
Yeah, Jake Johnson's their quarterback, great kid, great family. That comes with the territory of working with his dad for 6 years. Backup paycheck, the backup tailback paycheck, I worked with his dad for 4 years. So I know some of these guys. Not a ton of them. There's no personal connections or anything like that, but it's just, that's kind of how high school football is. Our kids know all of them through social media, so just because I know now a few names doesn't mean anything different.
Right, it's a little bit different now with the social media. Big time change from what it used to be, because all these kids kind of know each other.
Talk.
Yeah, they talk all the time.
Follow each other on Snapchat, and they see each other's Instagram stories, and they're dating girls from their high school, and they're dating, our girls are dating them for, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's kind of a small world.
It'll be a fantastic environment coming up on Friday night as well. What are going to be some of the things important for you guys to be able to do to get that sectional championship?
Yeah, we have to play our assignments on defense. We talked about the 27 missed assignments in one drive. That gets back to stopping the run. We have to be in our gap. We have to know who we're supposed to have. That'll be our key on defense. And then offensively, we need to run the ball again. Feel really good about us up front. Feel really good about our running backs and how much we've improved. We need to be able to run the ball. We need to be able to throw it for more than 19. But running the ball, setting the tempo is going to be the key for us offensively.
You look at it as well. I don't think the weather is going to be as poor as what it was on Friday night, so it should be a great atmosphere for fans to come out and watch the contest.
Yeah, get on out there, and if it's not, get you some foot warmers, some hand warmers, put a beanie on, come out and cheer you guys on.
Should be a fantastic game. Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck on Friday.
Appreciate it.
That's Artesian head coach Carter Whitson here inside Artesian football. Big sectional championship game. And oh yeah, it's a rivalry game. Martinsville and South doing battle on Ciderwoods Field as the Artesians host the Panthers. Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. Get out there early, be loud, and support the Artesians as they go for the sectional championship and looking for their 7th straight win of the season. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach Carter Whitson for coming in. For Coach Whitson and the advanced broadcasting class who produced it, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian football.